Hello guys, welcome to Nandi UAPA. Unlawful Activities Prevention Act has been in news for a couple of days because Delhi High Court yesterday granted bail to three student activists who are arrested under the stringent and draconian UAPA in connection with the Northeast Delhi riots in 2020 who are actually participating in anti-CAA protests, right? So they were arrested under the charges of UAPA. So Delhi High Court, citing the lack of evidence and loopholes in the arrest of these activists, granted bail yesterday. So today, the Delhi police moved to Supreme Court against bail to these three student activities in the riot case, citing that the Delhi High Court has lost sight of the evidence in the case. It was not a simple protest by students. There was evidence of terrorist activity. So these are the reasons the UAPA is in news, and this particular topic is relevant for your UPSC syllabus GS paper 2 polity. Let's see this particular topic in detail. First, let's try to understand what is Unlawful Activities Prevention Amendment Act or UAPA and what constitute as unlawful activities under UAPA. UAPA is an Indian law originally passed in 1967 under the then Congress government led by former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi ji. So it was aimed at the effective prevention of unlawful activities associations in India, as the name suggests. So here, what constitute as unlawful activities under this act? Any action taken by an individual or association intended to disrupt the territorial integrity and sovereignty of India, and actions related to secession and cession of Indian territory constitute as unlawful activities under UAPA. Here, one thing must be noted that terrorism or terror activities are not included in original UAPA. However, due to the rising terror activities and organized crimes, especially after 1984 Indira Gandhi ji assassination, in order to tackle the Khalistani extremism, Indian government passed a stringent and draconian law, that is TADA, in 1987. This law has given enormous powers to detain suspects and attach properties. However, due to the misuse of power and human rights violations, it was allowed to lapse in 1995. But in 1999, IC-814, the Indian Airlines flight, was hijacked, and in 2001, Parliament attack on India led to the clamor in India for a stringent and draconian law, which led to passing of POTA by Indian government, which means Prevention of Terrorism Act, in 2002. However, due to the human rights violations and its misuse, it was allowed to repeal. It was repealed in 2004. Having TADA lapsed and POTA repealed, there was no particular law to deal with terrorism and organized crimes. So in that context, Indian government decided to include the controversial and stringent and draconian provisions of TADA and POTA into UAPA. Okay, so that led to a series of amendments under successive governments in 2004, 2008, 2013 and most recent 2019. Let's see them in detailed way. Here begins the strengthening of UAPA 1967. In 2004, the government chose to strengthen the UAPA Act 1967 in accordance with the international standards and to overcome some of the difficulties in its enforcement and to update it to match Financial Action Task Force guidelines. So, following the 2004 amendment, Terrorist Act was added to the list of offences. Here, what constitute as Terrorist Act? The amendment criminalized having membership of terrorist organization, support to terrorist organization, raising of funds for terrorist organization and terrorist act, and holding of proceeds of terrorism were also made a crime under the 2004 amendment by adding the Terrorist Act. The 2004 Amendment Act not only assigned absolute power to the central government to handle the terror activities and organized crimes against the territorial integrity and sovereignty of India, but also increased the time available to law enforcement agencies to file charge sheet from 3 months to 6 months after the arrest, and the duration can be extended further after intimating the court. Generally, when a person gets arrested, so the police department has to file charge sheet within 24 hours and has to produce that particular person in front of district magistrate, and whether to decide whether that particular person is arrested legally or illegally. If district magistrate gives thinks that that particular person is arrested legally, then they must be sent to the court. Okay, but the person who is arrested under UAPA, the law enforcement agencies are allowed to not to charge sheet until 6 months. Okay, so they can inquire without filing a charge sheet. They can inquire the particular persons for almost 6 months, and they get the time period can be further extended after intimating the court also, right? So here Indians and foreign nationals both can be charged under UAPA. It is also applicable to foreigners also, right? Even the activities committed on the foreign land or outside India against Indian territorial integrity and sovereignty. And the highest punishment will be death penalty and life imprisonment. So further, the law was again amended in 2008 after the Mumbai serial attacks, and again in 2012 to make it more comprehensive. Now this time the definition of Terror Act was expanded further to include offences that threaten the economic security and counterfeiting Indian currency. That means to prevent the terror financing, right? To prevent the terror financing, it also included economic security threats and counterfeiting Indian currency under the 2012 Amendment Acts. Even procurement of weapons was also made a crime under the Act. So additional powers were also granted to the courts to provide attachment or forfeiture of property or proceeds of terrorism involved in the offences. Most recently, in July 2019, the ambit of UAPA was further expanded. So this time, according to the Act, Union government may proclaim or designate an organization as a terrorist organization if it commits or participates in acts of terrorism or prepares for terrorism, promotes terrorism, or is otherwise involved in terrorism. So this time the most controversial provision is that the Act empowered the government to designate individual as terrorist without trial. Without trial, this is the most controversial provision in the recent Amendment Act. Okay, so on what grounds government can designate an individual as a terrorist? On the same grounds, if an individual commits or participates in the acts of terrorism, number two, prepares for terrorism, or number three, promotes terrorism or is otherwise involved in terrorism, an individual can be designated as the terrorist. This is the most controversial provision, and it also empowered DG, that Director General of National Investigation Agency, to grant approval of seizure or attachment of property when the case is investigated by the NIA, and also empowered the officers of NIA of the rank inspector or above to investigate cases of terrorism in addition to those conducted by DSP or ACP or above rank. So earlier the cases, UAPA cases used to be investigated by DSP or ACP rank holders, but now according to this act, this allowed, empowered the officers rank of inspector or above to investigate the UAPA cases under the recent provisions.